or it may even tell me a day. Sometimes it tells me a year, but I won't remember the month or the day. And so I'm not saying that the headlines I'm about to read to you are going to happen in the same time frame as the perfect storm by the year 2020. I don't know, so I can't tell you what I don't know. I'm just letting you know, here are headlines that I have read that came from heaven. So I get headlines from heaven about things we're going to be reading in newspapers around the United States and even around the world in some cases. So, too big to fail, fails. Nation's bank being pushed. And I don't know how all this is going to happen, but because of certain bank failures, a national bank is going to be pushed. Too big to fail, fails. Nation's bank being pushed. I believe what's going to happen is they're going to nationalize Bank of America, and it will change the entire banking system in the United States, perhaps in the world. When that happens, it will set the precedent for the next phase of economic things. Next headline that not the next one I saw, but the next headline is this: is the infrastructure of America beyond repair? Meaning it takes so much money to repair the deferred maintenance that we've had. We don't have the money to do the deferred maintenance any longer. The next headline: the rise and fall of the political parties. New third party gains ground. The rise and fall of the political parties. New third party gains ground. Next headline: the Washington Monument tilts more. Delays announced to other monument repairs. It was like repairs that needed to be done on the Washington Monument were delayed because the monument started tilting. And apparently it not only started tilting, it started tilting more than it had. And so delays were announced. And it wasn't just to the Washington Monument. It was also to other monuments in Washington, D.C. There was delays announced to monument repairs. Then I saw this strange headline. It said, the Great Divide, the new normal on the Mississippi River. And it's like this was a headline after an earthquake. So a little while after an earthquake had happened, and they were no longer able to go all the way up the Mississippi from New Orleans, all the way up the Mississippi. They weren't able to any longer. Somehow something happened with the river in an earthquake. And so they call it the Great Divide, and how business was now operating on the Mississippi River since they could not traverse the whole way up. Another headline: Washington, D.C. riots. Washington, D.C. riots continue. That's all I saw. Washington, D.C. riots continue. And then I saw another headline that said, Chicago up in arms. And I believe that had to refer to something of anger, maybe riots. I don't know. I don't want to suppose too much. Sometimes I see headlines and I don't know what that headline means. That's just the headline I saw. Chicago up in arms. Then I saw I've seen another strange headline, and it simply said, where's the Navy? Something had happened in the Gulf of Mexico, either the Gulf of Mexico and or on one of the coasts. And it said, where's the Navy? It's like something happened, and the Navy should have spotted this issue before it happened. And they didn't catch it. Somehow it got under the radar. It bypassed the radar. Somehow it got around our protective grid, and the ocean protective grid that we have around this nation. It got around that. And I don't know how that happened, but it did. Another headline I saw was New United America being pushed. It was like there had to be something economically done with Canada, United States, Mexico, And I'm not sure about South America, maybe. I just am not sure. But for sure, Mexico, the United States, and Canada, an economic issue had arisen, a worldwide economic issue. And our solution, or the solution that was being pushed, was that we become almost like, instead of the United States, it would be United America. And I'm not saying that's the name of it, but that's the headline that I saw. New United America being pushed. Another headline I saw was GPS loses its GPS. It's as if, for some reason, the global positioning system, GPS, could no longer work like it was supposed to work. Something happened. I'm not sure what it was. I can always suppose, but I'm trying to limit this to what I saw, or saw a byline, or caught a sentence of an article about what happened. I don't know what that means. GPS loses its GPS. Another headline I saw was 3 planes down from solar tsunami. 3 planes down from solar tsunami, and others were missing, but it didn't give a number. It just said 3 planes down from solar tsunami. And then as I read on down in the byline, there were other planes that were missing. They were trying to track them down or find out what happened. One that I've said for a while, I actually had this. This was actually the first headline that the Lord gave me. The very first headline he gave me. This was in September of 1985. In September of 1985, the first headline I saw was this. And this was the one where the first time a newspaper came to me flat and stood up before me, and I read the headline.
Here we go. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone.
Make your reunion happen with Verbo. You're together always.
Sunshiny day.
Verbo.
Stop high blood pressure now. We owe it to ourselves and our loved ones to be as healthy as we can.
And the simplest said this: volcano erupts near Tokyo, 7 million dead, another million missing. Volcano erupts near Tokyo, 7 million dead, another million missing. And in this headline, actually, it was a little more than a headline. I was actually found myself standing across from Tokyo on a high, either on a mountain or a high hill or something across from Tokyo. Some a tree was blooming, or had either blossoming, or it was just finishing blossoming. A high-speed train had just gone by on the railroad tracks a little bit in front of me, maybe 200 yards down from where I was standing. And I looked across the city of Tokyo at a huge mountain in the background that was half covered with snow. And snow was about halfway down on it. And I saw a plume of smoke or steam come out the side of the mountain. And then a little while later, I saw another plume of steam or smoke come out the side of the mountain, the volcano. And then I saw a third plume come out the side of the volcano. And a short while later, I saw it shake, and I could hear all the noise of the city, the people, the trains, the planes going overhead, just the hustle and bustle of a huge city. But when this thing happened, when it erupted, I remember saying, "Oh this is worse than Mount St. Helens. And it blew, and smoke and ash came toward the city, but it was like steam, water. The water was so hot it melted things. When it hit it, it wasn't just it blew things over, but there was a melting that took place. And then a short while later, all the noise had turned to, it became muffled, and then it just quiet. Absolute quiet. And there's more details, but I don't want to bore you with all the details of it. But I'm concerned because at the time I had that, Mount Fuji was a dead volcano, but today it's now becoming active. So I thought it was time I better bring that up again, because one day that will happen. Another headline I saw was city tunnels closed after bomb. A bomb went off, and some city tunnel, I don't know where it was, some city tunnels were closed after the bomb. Another interesting headline I saw was this. It said, New Year's terror was the main capture. New Year's terror, and then the byline was, out with the new, in with the old. Out with the new, in with the old. Now, normally you'd say out with the old, in with the new, but this byline said out with the new, in with the old. It's like we said terrorism was dead, but we found out it's not. And so New Year's terror, out with the new, in with the old. Another headline I saw was record set for number of cities with riot curfews. Record set for number of cities with riot curfews. Then I saw another separate headline that said this, martial law to be extended for 30 more days. And it wasn't just one city. It was more than one city. I can't remember what the cities were. You know, it's like one of those things where you remember it in the experience, but you don't remember it when you come out of it. So I don't remember what the cities were, but it simply said martial law to be extended for 30 more days. Another headline I saw, severe cuts in number of soldiers, severe military cuts in number of soldiers. Another headline, nuclear disaster under the high seas. I don't know what that meant, but it said nuclear disaster under the high seas. Another headline, ocean temperature rise spreading, millions of fish dying. They were trying to find out what happened, and I'm not sure. They had narrowed it down to 2 or 3 things, and one of them I remember was like the earth opening and the heat from the earth, like the core of the earth. I'm not saying literally the core of the earth, but deep inside the earth where there's a much higher temperature, was being released into the sea at such a rate. The crack of the fissure was so large, they were thinking that that's what was causing the ocean temperature to rise. And there's millions of fish dying. The picture I saw was whales were dying, walruses were dying, porpoises were dying. And this happened in the Pacific Ocean, Another headline I saw was blight in grains spreading. Blight in grain spreading. There was, and it was like, there was almost, you would think one blight was done and another blight would hit a different type of grain. More than one grain was affected. Another headline, drought continues to cause prayer to rise. So drought continues to cause prayer to rise. Another headline I saw, NFL postpones all games until answers found. NFL postpones all games until answers found. Another headline read, does God play softball? Hail the size of softballs destroy thousands of homes and autos. Don't know where that was, but does God play softball? Another headline I saw was, the new North Pole is found in North Russia. The new North Pole is found in North Russia, meaning the North Pole had the The magnetic North Pole had moved so much that it was no longer under the North Pole. It was in northern Russia. It had shifted by that many kilometers. Cyber attack cripples grid, multiple collapses with restart efforts. So cyber attack cripples grid, multiple collapses with restart efforts. Don't know where that was. I don't know what grid that was. I just know that was the headline. Another headline is said, politics and trust, the new oxymoron. Politics and trust, the new oxymoron. Meaning, I guess that means that the time's coming when we won't be able to trust the political leaders to do what they say. Another headline, what other secret weapons does Israel have?